Welcome back, everyone. This is Radio Free Market, and I'm your host, Michael McKay, and with me is Dr. Yuri Maltsev and Mr. Pat Barron. And Pat, just before the break, you were talking about how the European Union actually had a great similarity to the newly formed American colonies before our Constitution was created, when we were really not a federal government, but actually a confederation of independent entities. And so please pick up that thread, if you would.
Yes, Michael, I think this is very important. It's sort of a part of our history, too, that I'm not sure is covered that much these days in high school civic courses, but there was a period of time after we had won the Revolutionary War and before we ratified the Constitution. Each of the 13 colonies was, in effect, its own independent, sovereign nation. Mm-hmm. And they felt that they were, people were Virginians and Pennsylvanians and New Yorkers and citizens.
Very similar to Europe now.
Very similar to Europe now. Now, the big difference, of course, is we had the advantage that just about everyone in the 13 colonies spoke English. So there was a common language, pretty much a common heritage, too. Not completely the same, but pretty much.
But there was no direct central means of taxing. And so the federal government or the central government, and therefore any central money, had no real means of actually centralizing that taxing authority. They had no central taxing authority. And that's something that also plagues or I shouldn't say plagues, that's a feature of the European Union. There's no central taxing authority per se to it either.
Right. In fact, if we've all heard the phrase, not worth a continental, we may not hear it that much today, but the phrase not worth a continental meant that before we ratified the Constitution, actually while we were still fighting the Revolutionary War, we had the Continental Congress issued money that were called continentals that actually became worthless, and that was one of the reasons was there was no central bank at the time, and the money was fiat completely, backed by nothing, and the Articles of Confederation did not provide that the government had the ability to tax people directly. They relied upon contributions from the 13 colonies. This is exactly the way it is in Europe today.
So
the
Yuri,
European Union. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead, Pat.
No, the European Union is a very large organization, and they have big offices, very impressive. I've been to their offices, and it all appears to be very impressive, but they're completely dependent upon their member, they call them their members, which are right now the 27 members of the Union, 16 of which are in the Eurozone, actually use the euro as their unit of currency. They rely upon them for contributions, and they in effect send their 27 members a bill saying, send this to the European Union so we can pay for everything that we do here. So you can see that the European Union itself is a much weaker organization than our federal government is. And so this is, I think, we're starting to now dig down into the whole crux of why lately, Greece seems that it may actually lead to a breakup of the European Union itself. It seems like, well, why should that happen? But I don't know. I can continue to talk about this, or Yuri, would you like to pick up that thread of thought?
Well, it's definitely Greeks are first. However, they're followed very closely by the so-called pigs, and that would be Portugal, Ireland, Italy, and Spain. and including Greece as well. And that would be the countries which do not have their financial houses in order. And that's it's again the countries which overspend, which all the time are relying heavily on deficit budgeting, on heavy borrowing. These are the houses. These are the houses not in the order, and that's why today, out of the 27 countries of European Union, it's only 16, the United Kingdom, or Poland even, to that matter, or Estonia, which were planned to join European Union next January, are reconsidering or considering staying away from Eurozone, because Eurozone is, for me, coming from the Soviet Union, it looks like a kind of a collective farm where the lazy can hide behind the true workers, and sure enough, if you have in Greece or Spain huge government bureaucracies with about 30-40% of employment, government employment, that means people are not producing anything, with the retirement ages like they have in Spain. If you are unemployed, and especially in the so-called first sector, then you can get your salary or your wage almost the same amount for 2 years, and that leads to unemployment of 22-23% in Spain, and somebody is paying for all this. And who is paying?
Yuri, I'm going to have
children.
to introduce you. You're correct. I'm going to have to interrupt you. We're coming up on a break. Everyone stay with us. We'll be right back. This is Radio Free Market. Talk to you in a minute.